Thank you. Thank you. That was a good start. Thank you all. This is our first time, myself and my family here in Norway, to your beautiful country. Thank you very much for inviting us along. We have got a little bit less time now than what we originally had. We have 4 horses, 4 riders, and what we're going to do is we're going to run through some movements. We're going to give you a little bit of an insight into what we do, how we do it, and what we're looking for. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort of get straight into it. So I'm going to start with Tia. Now, dressage is a sport that's judged on impression. We get judged on what it looks like. When we do our tests, they're set tests, we all do the same movements. There are certain technical requirements that are needed, and it's all about trying to create the correct impression, the correct way of going, and it's being able to influence your horse in a way that through your training and through your competition it's exactly the same, and we're wanting to not just teach the horse movements, but we're trying to make them the most gymnastic, athletic animal they can be as well. So there's certain things that we need. There's 3 things you need to be able to train, to improve. You need knowledge. Then you need to be proactive. You need to have a go. Don't be scared about having a go, but then you have to be patient. And it's really important because horses learn at different speeds, riders learn at different speeds, so we always have to give them time to evolve. You know, and with our horses we're looking for longevity, we're looking for them to have a long career, so it's really important that we do it in quite a correct, systematic way. Right, Tia, we're going to start with you. So these guys have warmed up outside, so I'm just going to sort of start you off a little bit how I would at home with my horses. So Tia, do you want to go canter? So usually with the more advanced horses we start off in the canter. The canter work, there's lots of movements that come through the canter work, but also the canter work really helps the horse become more gymnastic, just through the fact of the mechanics of how the canter works, and the canter works helps the trot. So Tia, what we're going to do is I want you to come on a circle around me. So it doesn't matter what discipline you're in, one of the most important one of the most necessary requirements is speed control. The more gears you have on your horse, the more control you have. Whether it be on a dressage horse setting up for movements, whether it be a show jumper, being able to set up for fences, whether it's a cross-country horse galloping across country, it's speed control. And the more gears you have, the more control you have. So Tia, can you come in a little bit smaller? So what we're going to do is we're just going to start running through just our gear changes. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to start to collect, okay? So when we think about collection, you want to think about asking them to walk from your hand and canter from your leg. So I want you to bring him back as short as you can in the canter. So you want to think about your forward riding canter covering less ground. So if you keep the circle out just very slightly. Now as you change tempo, don't change body positioning. It's very easy if you watch the mechanics of a horse where they land the outside hind first. As a horse collects, it starts to drift its quarters in. So it's really important that we can hold that horse straight. Right, now I ride forward. So now we ride a little bit more energy into it. So what we look at is that forward riding creates impulsion, forward riding creates expression, and then we collect to rebalance the horse. What great riders have is the ability to put the horse in the right balance very quickly. So when you watch really good riders, again, it doesn't matter what discipline they're in, what makes them really good is their ability to put the horse in the right balance very quickly. So very quick adjustments. Right, I want you to collect again. Now this time I want you to collect back even further. So you're going to collect the canter back, really short. Shorter, shorter, sit tall, shorter, shorter, back further, shorter, shorter, shorter. That's it. And now go forward. And now forward. And forward. And forward. That's it. Good. Good. All right, one more time. I want you to bring the canter back again. So we're going to bring the canter back short. So I want you to collect it back as far as you can. So we eventually want to have 5 or 6 different canters. I want Tia to be able to canter at a speed I can walk next to her, and I can walk really slow. But we have to have a canter we can canter into a halt. We have to have a canter that we can canter into a canter pirouette. But we also need a canter for an extension. So collect again, further, further, more collection. Collect back, collect back, collect back. Good, and then forward. Good. All right, I want you to change direction, and we're going to do the same thing on the right. Now, everything we do, we have to do on both reins. And the reason we have to do it on the both reins is when we go into dressage test, we get judged on both reins. We do every movement on both sides, so it's really important because a horse, like us, has a stiff side. Tia, and change direction. The horse has a stiff side and has a hollow side. It's like us, we have a stronger side and a weaker side. So we use these exercises to create a horse that works equally on both sides. So again, when we go and do our movement, we have them equally reactive and equally supple. So we start again. Now I want you to collect and back. Now you can do too much of everything except transitions. So transitions are going to be your most useful aid. Now collect further and collect. And what I really like about this, when Tia's doing this, she's not changing the frame at all. I want consistency in the frame. Now forward and forward and forward and forward. Good. And now you're going to collect again. Good. So we can call them half gears if you like, which is subtle changes of tempo, and then we have very, very clear changes of tempo. Good. And forward. Good. All right, let's go out large. Good. So it's really important, it's something that's really important that you put into your horses. We do this every day. We put these gears into our horses. I mean, it's like if you've got a Ferrari at home, but it doesn't, if the gears don't work, you can't change gears, you can't drive your car. You know, and we need gears in these horses and we have to keep up on them. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start doing some half passes. So Tia, if you can, at the top, come down your center line and we're going to do a right half pass. So half passes we have in all the advanced tests. At the junior level test, which these girls are doing, we have a single half pass. And what we're looking for is the horse has to be sitting up in the pole. It has to be flexed around the inside leg, looking in the direction they're going, and then jumping sideways. So Tia, can you go around, do a circle? And I want you to just lift his pole a little. So think a little higher. That's it. Okay, and I want you to come around, you're going to go center line, you're going to half pass again. And what I want you to think about doing is on your line, what you're looking for in the half pass as a rider is that you can see your marker between his ears. And I want you to think that in the flexion, I want you to think about having him a little bit higher in the pole. So I want you to lift him up a little bit, higher, 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 and then hands forward. And sit him up, and sit him up. Lovely. Good. Very good. And now you go straight, you straighten the frame, and into a change. Very nice. Now pole up again. Right, now collect your canter. And now center line, and we're going to do it one more time. So every time you come into a line, there's 3 parts to every movement. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And always remember, halfway through your movement, your impression for the judge. All right, so that pole needs to be a little bit higher, otherwise he comes too low. And then you're going to do a single change. Very good. Good. All right, I want you to collect. I want you to lift the pole. And then you're going to collect, collect, and then you're going to walk. You keep the pole up. Good, and give them a loose rein. So the first thing always is speed control. Transitions, 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 all the time. The second thing is we start with some lateral movement like the half pass to start to create some sort of gymnastic jump. But we always must think about the impression, what it looks like, how it feels, because sometimes what feels nice doesn't look good. And what looks good doesn't necessarily feel nice. And a good feel is one where you feel that the horse is wanting to follow you. And if it's a movement that the horse finds more difficult, then they're going to need a little bit more help from us. And it's a movement they find easier, they need less help from us. But it's really important that we're there trying to give the horse all the information. Right, so with Martine, what we're going to do is we're going to do some changes. Right, so Martine, again, when we start here, I want you to collect a little. Just collect very slightly. Now I want you to lift the pole. You lift him up in the pole a little bit and then ride forward again. So every time you feel him, every time it's a her, isn't it? Yeah. Every time you feel her dip away, I want you to use your half halt. And a half halt is a transition within the pace that rebalances the horse. Everything, again, I go back to what I said at the beginning, is about your balance. So Martina, I want you to lift the pole a little bit. And now I want you to half halt. Just lift him up, close your leg, and now ride forward. Good. All right, and forward, and forward. Good. That's it. So we need good reaction waiting, and we need good reaction going forward. Right, we're going to do some changes. So, what we'll find is as we go through the horses, how we start to evolve with the line. So my team, if you want to go large, all right, if you want to come out onto the track, and then I want you to come across your diagonal, and I want you to do a single change. All right? So, single changes come in at this junior level, right up to when we get to Grand Prix where we have to do 15 one-tempo changes. So everything we do at this level is connected through to what we're going to do at the advanced level. So if we watch her come across the school, she's going to come across the school, and then you'll see that when she asks, you see the right hind legs jump forward. Now what we are looking for is that the hind leg comes first. Okay, we're looking for a jump through with both legs. What we don't want is to find that one leg comes through a stride leg. So Martine, you've come on the diagonal, we're going to do that again. Now I want the pole up a little bit more, so we get a little bit more height, slightly more collected in your canter. Up, good, good, lovely. And you can see there he's got lovely expression in the hind leg and lovely jump. Now, the only thing I'd like to see is I'd like to see him slightly more engaged, a little bit more collected. The canter's a little bit too big. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to change now, and I want you to do 2 short diagonals. So you're going to half pass from the corner to the Agria side, with a change over the centre line. Good. And now when you hit the wall, I want you to go on your diagonal, and then I want you to do it right to left. So what we do is we start building up. Good. We start shortening the time between the changes. So we start building up the reactivity and our ability to put these changes close together. Right, I want you to do that again, but this time we're going to do 3 changes. So go from the corner to here on the short diagonal, and then you do a change. Up, good. And when you hit the wall, I want you to do a short diagonal. No, we're doing single changes across the middle, not tempies yet, not too excited. Good, and now pole up again. Keep them up, right? And I want you to do it over the centre line, okay? Not before. So in our tests, we have to do particular movements at particular places. So it's really, really important that we can see a stride. It's like jumping, we have to see a stride. So we're going to do that again. I want you to do a short diagonal to the lucid side and do a change over the centre line. So pole up. Oh, right, so if you saw that one, she didn't quite have them together enough and he was a stride late. So lift the pole up, keep them up together. Good, up, and forward. Good, and refresh your canter. Very good, good. All right, collect your canter. Always collect first, and then you're going to walk. Good, collect your canter, collect and walk. And everything you do, you have to think about how you do it. Now, as we start to improve these horses and start to move up the levels, as the questions get more difficult, 2 things happen. The movement gets more difficult, but the speed in which the movements come quicker. And then what happens is with the horses, when they're first learning, is they get a little bit insecure and a little bit unsure. So it's being able to introduce it in a way where we can add a little pressure, start to build the pressure up, to start to teach them how they can adapt, teaching them how they can start to react quickly. And then what happens is the length of time between the movement, as that reduces, it comes back to our speed control. Everything comes back to speed control, being able to create short, quick reactions. Right, Tia. We're going to go canter again. We're going to go canter. I'm not standing in a good place. Good. All right, so we're going to go canter. Very good. Good. All right, so once we've worked a little bit on our half passes, and we've done a little bit with the changes, we can start building up changes into tempi changes. And what we do is at pre-St. George level, it comes in where we start doing changes every 4 strides. So Tia, I want you to come on the diagonal, and I want you to do 3 changes, okay? I want you to do 1 here, 1 halfway across, and 1 3/4 way across, but no particular number of strides in between. So if we watch Tia, she comes along with the pole up, and then she'll ask for the change, and she'll sit up and wait. And then when she's ready, you'll see her slide her right leg back into the change. Good, and wait, and up. And we're looking for a couple of things here. We're looking for straightness, and we're looking for a quality change. And if you watch the hind leg on this horse, it's got lovely expression how it jumps through. Okay, I want you to do that again. Now what allows us then to start working on our tempies is our balance between the changes. So as the balance comes better, we can start shortening the number of strides between the changes. Right? Okay, little half hold. Now that was where what we call the horse got behind her leg. And this is where it comes down to your ability to have the horse in the right balance. So Tia, when you find that that happens, after a change, I want you to collect very slightly so you can refresh forward slightly into your change. So one more time. So when you change, I want you to do your first change. Now collect. Good. Now think forward and change. And now collect. And now think forward and change. Lovely. Very good. Good. So as she starts to then get that reaction, then what happens is the horse starts to come more on her aid. Good. All right. Collect. And then you're going to walk. Oh, right. Should we do that one again? Now, every time we do something, we have to think about how we do it, because again, in a test, it's judged. So every time we even do something simple like canter walk, we have to think about how we do it. So collect, and I want you to collect as much as you can, and then with your seat, just close your seat and ask for walk. Good, and then loose rein. Very good. Right, so you can see when Tia came into those changes, that as we start to put them together, and she had several strides in between, the time reduces, so your reactions have to quicken. And the quicker you can react, the more time a horse feels it has. So it's really important that everything, again, goes back to the speed in which you can react, goes back to your speed control. Speed control helps you with your balance, and if you have a horse in a good balance, it's amazing what you can get your horse to do. Right, Martin, should we go trot? Good. Right, I want you to come on a circle. Good. Now, a trot. What makes a trot more beautiful is cadence and suspension. You can have the ugliest horse in the world, and as soon as you start to put in swing, and you start to put in what we call cadence, which is swing from leg to leg, then you can make anything look beautiful. You know, any horse, as soon as you start to this sort of beautiful, you can have the most beautiful horse in the world, and if it trots off with no athletic ability, it's just disappointing. So what we are looking for is we're looking for this using their whole body, and really wanting to push and swing through their body. Right, Martin, I want you to lift the pole slightly. Lift, lift. Now I want you to half hold back a little bit. I want you to ask him a little smaller, up in the pole, and now soften your hand. Good. So we use the rein to guide the horse. The rein is not a holding aid, it's a guiding aid. And we want to use the rein to ask the horse to sit back and come back to our seat and our leg for us to soften the hand. So I want you to lift the pole again and now soften your hand. Good. So you're not holding them, you're directing. So it's called self-carriage. This is this thing we're looking at the horse carrying themselves. And when a horse carries itself, it uses its body in such a way it can be the best version of itself. All right, I want you to go large. So I want you to go out on the track. Now I want you to half halt again and lift the pole a little bit. And then soften your hand. Good. And you have to do thousands of those. Thousands and thousands of transitions, constantly thinking about rebounds. Don't rush. Don't rush. Half halt up. Good. Give yourself a little bit more time to swing forward. So half halt up a little bit. Up and then soften. That's it. Look for him to swing more underneath you rather than run away. Give him time to swing from leg to leg. Now half hold up again and then soften. That looks beautiful. Very nice. Lovely. And see, that creates a whole different impression when you start getting him more balanced like that. Now half halt again. So a transition is the rider's best friend. Half halt again and then pole up. And now I want you to go into a shoulder in. So we're going to lift the pole, and the shoulder in is this positioning where we bring the shoulder in off the wall, and we're wanting a 3-track movement. So if you were standing behind, you would see the outside hind, the inside hind, and the outside fore on another track, and then the inside forward. Now, It's like juggling. As we start to ride the movements, we have to still think about rebalancing our horse all the time. So Martin, down the long side into the shoulder in again, and I want you to lift the pole a little bit. Now I want you to half hold, and then I want you to be able to relax. And now just look for the horse to carry itself. That's it. Pole up, and then soften the hand. That's it. Lovely. Good. Good. You keep looking for that horse to carry itself. Very good. All right, so then once we get going through our test, we also have our medium and extended paces. So Martine, do you want to show me your extended trot? So this is full power, keeping the balance. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what she can give us. So onto your diagonal. Martine, onto your diagonal, we're doing extended trot. Good. Now remember, you have a corner, so you're going to sit him up, ask him to wait. Use your corner to get control. Onto your diagonal, and then into your extension. And we're looking for full ground cover with an uphill tendency. And that's pretty impressive. So what we are looking for is we're looking for ground cover. We're not just looking for the legs to be flashy, we're looking for ground cover. So what we're looking for is that where the front foot lands, the hind foot steps forward into that, not being left behind. So Martine, I want you to do a circle. Now, as an exercise, he's got a very good extension. He just runs a little bit onto the hand. So as an exercise, I want you to break your diagonal up into two halves. So I want you to come forward, and over the center line, I want you to do a transition back, and then I want you to go forward again. So we're going to ask him forward, and now I want you to bring him back. Good, and now I want you to go forward again. That's it. Whoop, that's a little bit too much. So that happens when they go from pushing to running, and that's a loss of balance. And so it's really important, again, everything comes back to balance. It's something, it's like a little mantra going on in your head. It's always balance, balance, balance. Now, Martine, little half hold. You're just getting a little bit fast. So ease him up. Good. And now gently forward. Now let him grow. Don't rush. Let him grow. Now bring him back. Good. And now soften your hand. Now let him grow. And grow. And grow. Very good. Lovely. Very good. All right, you can go rising and you give them a little stretch. Good, good. And what's important as well is what we want to be able to teach them. Martine, go rising, up, down. Yep. And now you can give them a stretch. What's really important that we want to teach our horses as well is basically when we pick up the rein, they lock on. They think this is work time. And then as soon as we let the rein out, they have to learn to relax. They have to learn to take a breath, relax their bodies, allow themselves to relax. So when we pick up, they learn to come back onto it. Otherwise, if they don't relax, it's like you going to the gym and doing too much. You know, you get muscle soreness. And it's really important that we keep them really nice and supple, and we think of them as an athlete. You know, they're like us, they have muscles, they can feel things, they're not a machine. So we always have to think about the fact that we can relax them off, get them all loosened off, after some heavy work. Right, Tia. What I'm going to use Tia now, I'm going to show you a few different walks. Now, we have some very exciting stuff in dressage to look at, things like changes and eventually calf passage, but we also have boring things that we get judged on, our holds, our walks. And walk is really important because in our test, when we do an extended walk, we have a coefficient of 2, so that it's marked twice. So it's really important that we learn to be able to ride very good walks. So what I want you to do is I want you to walk a big circle. Okay? Now, I want you to show me a collected walk. Okay? So when you ride a collected walk, I want you to think about an uphill collected frame, and I want you to think about sitting tall and riding his hind leg forward to your hand. And what we're looking for in a collected walk is if we're looking for the hind foot steps into the print of the front foot. We don't want the walk to be too big. And also what we talk about, we want to keep the right rhythm. And so if you have a look at, for instance, the inside two legs, you can see that they almost make a V. That's sort of what we're looking for. Right, now I want you to ride an extended walk. So in an extended walk, we want to get the reins as long as possible with an impression of contact. We want to think about the pole, his ears being about the height of the wither. So if you leave the pole up just very slightly, lift the pole up very slightly, and then neck the neck out. And then what we're looking for is, what I want you to think about in your extended walk is riding the front leg away. Try and really push the front legs away. Push your hands forward. That's it there. And really ride the shoulders away. So you get a really swinging shoulder. And we want to try and ride the biggest walk we can within the rhythm. So you have to be careful you don't over push. So ride the front leg away. And then what we're looking for here is what we call an over trap. So we're looking at the hind foot now steps over and in front of the front foot. And so if you have a look where the front foot hits the sand, and then where the hind leg hits the sand, we're looking for that steps over front. And the bigger the over track, the better the walk. But what is really important as well is what they do with their bodies. Good, now you're going to collect your walk again. And then we want to teach them here when we do this, that as we shorten up, they learn to close their frame, almost sit up on the aid. So he's basically saying, what are we going to do next? And that allows them to do our transition into the next question. Very good. All right, you're going to give him a loose rein. Very good, thank you very much. So could you please give the two girls a round of applause? Thank you. It's a huge thing, you know, there's a lot of people here, and for these girls to come in and do this is very nerve-wracking. You know, they always hope it goes well and things, so it's very much appreciated from the spectators, from you guys, that you know, you thank them for the fantastic job that they've done. Right, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Tia Elise Nielsen or Karen Martine Tandberg. I'll just introduce the two next riders, Gareth. Emma, kan du bare strekke en hånd i været, så den vet du er. Der har vi Emma Løkken. 4 ganger norgesmester, 2 ganger på pony, 2 ganger junior, 13. plass i Euro i 2023. Nummer 12 på World Rankingen for junior, gull på nordisk mesterskap individuelt junior 2023. 2 ganger 4. plass på bondeschampionatet. Hun trener for mamma Louise Alvelund Løkken. Hesten heter Mr. Gold, og han har vært i familien siden han var 2,5 år gammel, så han er en generasjonshest. Og heldig, må jeg si, Emma her. Hun har arvet mammas Grand Prix-hester. Skikkelig applaus til Emma Løkken. Neste rytter er Anne Mathilde Haga. Hun trener for Trine Elise Jepsen og Søren Nils Sørensen. De tok NM-gull i år, som var det største som Young Rider, og det å få ri i hagen var en fantastisk opplevelse. Hun jobber på rideskolen som de har hjemme. Jeg jobber spesielt med barn som går til ridning. Hesten heter Trelleborn Sensation, er en dansk varmblods, og stallen de har heter Trivselsstallen, så klart. En skikkelig applaus til Anne Mathilde Haga. Then Gareth, they're all yours.
Is it my turn now?
It's your turn.
Perfect. Perfect, right. So what we did with those first couple of horses is we just sort of started off with the individual movements. And sort of the process that we sort of start. And what we're going to start to do with these guys now is we're going to start to put some of these individual questions together. So, Anne, do you want to pick up counter? So we're going to start. Right, so what we're going to do is, again, as soon as we get going, I want you to on a circle, okay? And again, the first thing we do every time is transitions. It's the way to check a horse is on your aid, okay? And what it does, it wakes the horse up and it gets them aware and thinking about what you're doing. So I want you to lift the pole a little bit. I want you to think a little taller. Now what we have to think about is when we're training is the impression we're creating. It feels very different for a horse to work with its neck lower than higher. And as much as you can, you want to train as close as what you're going to do in the arena. If you ride your horse in a different way outside the arena, you can't expect it to go a different way inside the arena. So it's very, very important that we think about our frame and teaching the horse to be able to be able to react and change tempo, change body positioning, all within the same frame. So I want you to collect again. So I want you to collect. I want you to lift the pole, lift your hands a little bit, leg on. It's okay if he gets behind you. Now what I want you to imagine is the bit end of the rein. So where the bit is, that end of the rein, I want you to ask him to come a little rounder. Then I want you to imagine there's a spring from the wither to your hand, and I want you to lift his wither a little bit, and then use your leg to ride forward. Now push forward, and forward, and forward. Now go, go. Good. So when you collect, I want you to imagine you're lifting the wither. So imagine there's a string from the wither to your hand, and I want you to lift your hand a little bit as you collect, and now use your leg to come forward. So now ask him to wait in front, and then ride the hind leg forward. Lift the wither, and then hind leg forward. Because see, eventually we want to do counter pirouettes. So he has to learn to collect by stepping under, not leaning over. So I want you to collect again. So think up in the pole, up in the wither, now leg on, that's it, keep coming forward, and now go forward, good. And you keep coming backwards and forward until he learns how to react with his body in that setup. So he finds it a lot easier to be reactive if he's a bit low, but he has to learn to be able to react with that pole up. Good, right, we're going to go large, and what we're going to do is we're going to start doing some zigzags. Yeah, zigzag, half pass, yeah? So, what we did is with the junior horses, we have a single half pass into a flying change. The next step we have is what we call a zigzag. And this is where we half pass one way, we do a flying change, we half pass another way, and as we go up the levels, at Grand Prix level, we have to do 6 different half passes down the centre line, so it gets very difficult. So we're going to start. So, I want you to go onto the track. If you do a circle, you're going to go onto the track. Now, as an exercise, I want you to, from the wall, I want you to half pass 5 meters. Okay? I want you to half pass 5 meters. Half pass? 5 meters. Yeah, okay, just stop. So from the corner, you're going to half pass 5 meters. And when you finish your half pass, I want you to think about setting up for your new half pass, but don't change. All right? And when he's relaxed in the setup, we're going to change into the half pass. Okay? And then we'll go back to the track. What you have to think about in your zigzag is the flying change is the first stride of the new direction, not the last stride of the old direction. Does that make sense? Okay? Let's have a go. And the reason being is as we go up the levels, and we have to do more half passes, we have to be able to reposition the horse, and in a Grand Prix, where we have to go 3 left, 6 right, 6 left, 6 right, 3 left, we have to be able to make sure that the first stride is always into the new direction. So if we half pass right, good, now think shoulder 4 left, wait, now change, and half pass, and half pass. So we change into the half pass, and now shoulder 4 right, and now change. Good. Right, we're going to do that again. So I want you to do the same thing. Now, as they get better, what we do is we reduce the number of strides between finishing the half pass and the change, until eventually we can get down to 2 strides. So shoulder 4 left, wait, now change, and go. And forward, and now shoulder 4 right, wait, and change, and forward. Good. Right. So now we're going to start trying to bring them closer together. So what I want you to do now is I want you to do your half pass right 5 meters. I want 3 strides straight and then change and half pass. So we're going to half pass. Good. Now shoulder 4 right. Good. And change. And forward. Good. Now shoulder 4 left, right. Wait. Change. Half pass. Good. Well done. And now half hold, sitting back. And we're going to do it one more time. So, as they start to get quicker in their reaction, we can start shortening the length of time between finishing the half pass and the change, so we start to be able to ride more zigzags. So now shoulder 4 left, and now change, good. And now shoulder 4 right, and change. And that's where, again, so little reactions like that, and that's really normal as horses start learning this, is because as things get hard, what they do, they feel like they need more time, so they forget to react. And so this is where, if that happens, we go back to giving him more strides until he understands, and then we can start adding them in quicker. So again, it all falls back to then you being able to ride your half holds and forward. Good, and now sit him up, right leg, and change and forward. Good, and now shoulder for left, and sit up, and change. Well done, very good. All right, and collect, and walk, and give him a breather. Good. So, yeah. So even our Grand Prix horses that are established at these half passes, what we do is the most important part of the very difficult movements is your setup. So we finish a line setting up for the new question because the time gets reduced. So it's being able to think really, really quickly with that. So that's an exercise that we would do with our Grand Prix horses. And then from that exercise, you can ride then any of the zigzags required in all the movements. All right, Emma. Should we go counter? Good. Okay. So again, Emma's had a little walk. So again, as she picks up, the first thing we're going to do is play a little bit with the speed control. Again, it's transitions. It's like getting in your Formula One car and making sure your accelerator and your brakes works. If you get in your Formula One car and the brakes don't work, you can't go very fast. So it's really important that these brakes work. So we're just going to do a few little transitions again, and then what we're going to do is we're going to work on some tempo changes. So I want you to collect very slightly. Good. Now sit tall, don't lean back. Now I want you to collect. Make the canter a little shorter. Good. And what you've got to be able to do is no matter the amount of ground cover, you have to be able to keep the energy. And that's the jump, that's activity. Activity is what finishes the picture off. It's having a good engine. Good. And collect. Just collecting back a little bit. So we have to make sure these aids are working. So when we come in and ask a hard question, we can react quicker than the question to make sure we help the horse out by putting it into the right balance. And then collect again, and back, and sit, more collection, now really collecting, now really collecting, now really collecting, like more, no, canter, more, not walk, canter, now collect, on the spot, leg, good, and now gently forward, that's it, good, and then we're going to do that again, and we're going to really collect until you can nearly canter on the spot. Now as you collect, watch his quarters don't drop in. So now back, now really collect, yeah, and back, lovely, wait, and forward, good. All right, now forward, now change direction. Now, what is really important, when we collect back into that canter, that's a canter, we're going to do canter pirouettes for him. What's really important is when we collect that much, he has good separation in his hind leg. So if you watch when she collects again, and you watch as the outside hind lands, he has a good separation forward with the inside hind. If that's too close, if he gets tight, when we then go into a canter pirouette, it makes it very hard for them to pirouette. So that everything has a technique. So I want you to collect. So you're going to collect him back, sit tall, now collect, now back further, on the spot, little right flexion, now wait, and you can see him starting to really take the weight on the outside hind, but he has good separation to the inside hind. Very good, and go forward. And what that does is that tells us then he's starting to get strong enough in taking the weight for us to do a pirouette. Very good. Right, we're going to go out large, and we're going to do some tempi changes. Right, so what we did is with the others, we did single changes, and then we did 3 changes on the diagonal. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start to work towards our tempi changes. So our tempi changes start with 4s. So we're going to do diagonal, and we're going to do 4 tempi changes. So every 4 strides, she's going to move her leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, up. So that's balance. So again, that's where she has to think about how she uses her half hold and her balance. So we go again. So think about having him a bit more collected, a little bit more up, good, and on the diagonal. And so she's going to start with her first change, and then every 4 strides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, and that's balance. Can you keep him a bit more collected and do that again? Okay, so you're going a little bit too fast, and we want to try and have 5 4 tempis, okay? All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect, well done. Right, now see if you can do 3 tempis. So now we're going to do it every 3 strides. So collect, yeah, you've got to be able to keep him forward without too much speed. So now we're going to do it every 3 strides.
Just to tell you, Gareth, we've got 4 minutes. Lovely, thank you.
Yep, good. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5. Perfect, well done. Right, can you do 7 2s? 7 2 tempis? We have a go. All right, diagonal. Good, keep them collected. And 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, 7, 2. Oh, 9 2s. Well done. Very good. Very good. Very good. Do you want to pick it up? Great, you can give him a rest. Very nice. So these changes start to come in, and at Grand Prix we then end up having 15 ones. Do you want to go trot? Good, we've only got a few minutes left. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just touch on, just for a couple of minutes, if you go trot, a little bit of how we start to then create even more expression, where we start to introduce a little bit with the passage. Okay? So, I want you to think, pole up a little bit. Lift, lift, lift. Good. All right, now I want you to half hold, and I want you to think a little bit more towards your passage. Now, I think this horse has just started this, so I want you to collect. Now, what I want you to think about is doing this. I want you to think about reducing your stride. I want you to think about him bouncing off the floor. Collect, collect, and then give him time. Find a rhythm. Everything is based on rhythm. So collect, collect, let him swing. Good. Collect, wait. Now give him a light tap. Wait, rhythm, rhythm, good, and now trot forward. And we literally are going to trot and passage, but base everything on rhythm. If he can't find a rhythm, he can't be regular, he can't be consistent. So you collect, good, good, that's it. So rhythm first, and then trot, rhythm, and then after that, once we have a good rhythm, we can start getting more expression. And again, so we collect, and into your passage. Good, and we're looking for that suspension. Good, in a rhythm, that's it. Good. You know, when we start doing this, and we start putting these into horses, this is where we start to really make them dance. You know, and they've come, we really start to be able to create that beautiful expression. One more time. We're going to ask it to collect. Good, good. A little bit more. There, now wait, wait, wait. Yeah, so he learns to hold that. Very good. It's very good beginnings, and then forward. And every time he comes into a question like that, we're thinking consistency in the rhythm, and then being able to add the trot again to create the expression. Very good. Good. All right, that's lovely. Okay, go large. Trot large. Up into trot. Trot. Good. Good. All right. And then you can go rising and give him a break. Very good. Lovely. All right, Emma, we have 2 minutes. So, passage. So we're going to do the same thing with this horse. So this horse is a little bit more established. Now I want more collection. More collection. Good. And now bounce. and bounce. And think about you're using your half hold, getting the collection, and now bounce, bounce. And think about bouncing the ball. It's like trying to bounce him off the floor, just to get that expression. Very good. Right, does he know a little bit piaf? Yeah? So what you're going to do now is you're going to make your passage smaller, 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 and then into a little piaf. So now cleft, and now piaf is a little bit towards trying to trot on the spot. Very good, good. And now just gently out into your passage. So squeeze out, squeeze out, squeeze out. Think about the passage, think about that bouncing off the floor trot with less ground cover. So ask him to come back and wait, wait, more sit, lovely. That's it. Good, now sit really tall. Now try and bring the passage back smaller, and we're going to go into your piaf one more time. So if we go from the passage and we shorten it, and now leg, leg forward. Good, quick, quick, quick. Good girl. And then squeeze out. Very good, very good. Good, all right, you can go rising and give him a stretch. Good. So it's been quite a short time to get through 4 horses, to get through sort of lots of these movements. But it gives you a little insight into what we do, what we look for, some of the movements that are in a test. And it doesn't matter what level you're at, from riding club level right up to International Grand Prix. The basis of it all is the same. And the most important thing is our horses, correct training, good welfare, and having fun. Having fun. That's the main criteria of all our horse sport, is really enjoying it. So thank you very much. Could you please thank the girls?
Thank you very much to Anne-Mathilde and Emma, but thank you, Gareth Hughes. But now I have a question for you, Gareth, and that is, we know now why you're called Mr. Detail, but where does Nugget come in?
Sorry?
I see, we know now why you're called Mr. Detail, but why Nugget?
That was my nickname when I was a little boy.
Okay, Mr. Nugget.
I grew up in Australia, and I had one of my friends, her father. There was a cartoon on television called Golden Nugget, and I was a little skinny redhead, and so he used to call me Golden Nugget. So Nugget stayed with me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nugget. Nå vil vi gjerne, just say there just a minute, og vi vil gjerne ha en dama som har virkelig stått på og fått ordnet denne herlige klinikken, og det er business manager i Europe fra Agria, Marianne Einarsen.